Hello everybody, a very happy new year to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us for this video interview. And today we have a wonderful guest. Not only a wonderful guest, he is what I would call a superhero that doesn't wear capes. Mr. Jack Sim is very well known, not just in Singapore, but all over the world. In his lifetime, he has started 16 different businesses. At the age of 40 years old, he decided to retire and devote his whole life to humanity. And not only to serve humanity, but to serve humanity, in terms of one of the biggest and most important needs, the need for sanitation. And he told me at a point in time when he first started, 2.6 million people didn't have proper sanitation. And he launched so many initiatives, came out with so many innovations. At one point, he managed to even convince 193 countries in the United Nations General Assembly to adopt 19th of November as the official United Nations World Toilet Day. And today, 2.4 billion people all over the world have access to proper sanitation thanks to the work of one man and his team and his whole movement. And I asked him a while ago, what are you going to do in the other half of your life? And he said, I've decided to devote my other half of my life to launch another new initiative to reach out to help the poorest of the poor. There are 4 billion people who are earning less than $8 per day. And he has built a 65,000 square feet SDG center near the Ubi MRT station, and it is going to be his global social business center. This man has won so many accolades. I just have to read them all to you. He was named Times Magazine Hero of the Environment 2008, Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Points of Lights Award in 2018, Luxembourg Peace Prize, Channel News Asia Asian of the Year in 2010, and many accolades. So I'm so excited that Mr. Sim is able to join us for this video interview. So Jack, thank you so much for joining us for this video interview. I'm going to be very point blank with you because you're such a hero. You are my hero. You are a hero to so many people out there. But I know you have gone through many challenges in your life. And I was wondering whether if you could maybe share with the audience, what are some of the challenges you've been through in your life? Yeah.
Well, actually, right now is a recession and there's a lot of trauma. People are losing their jobs. And I had the same experience when I was in 1997. When I was 40 years old, there was a Asian currency crisis. And during this period, the stock market start falling, and in the beginning you don't really feel it, because I was in the construction industry. I was enjoying my growth of 16 profitable businesses since I started in 1984. So I was growing the businesses, and then suddenly it started to cool down. And because when you're in the construction industry, project continue to run for at least another 3 years. So you start to hear that the companies are retrenching. So you don't feel it, you just know it. And then after a while, you start to hear that the friends are losing their jobs. Then you start to see yourself having good staff resigning because they are worried that my company is not
able to continue
getting enough orders and they have to take care of their family. So the good ones who can find job, they start to leave. And then after a while, you find that your company's cash flow is not very good and people stop paying you on time. And so as it goes, a lot of emotional feeling happen. The first feeling is, hey, why am I not clever anymore? So that's a kind of like, for whole 16 businesses growing, feeling very happy, very confident, and then suddenly, it was the market that made me successful. It wasn't really me, right? So there's a humbling effect. And then the next thing is that all your good stuff are leaving. People were like your friends, it worked so many years with you, and you start to feel a sense of guilt, like I'm not good enough to keep them, I failed them. And then after a while, you kind of enter into a lot of emotional self-doubt. So this type of thing is probably going on with a lot of people's life today. Some of them, of course, is actually having financial issues, and some of them is just a fear of losing their job or closing down their business. A lot of restaurants, I heard 1,000 restaurants has already closed down.
Wow.
Right? So the way I look at it is that in a moment like this, the first thing you have to do is to separate your real problem, which is often a financial problem, with your emotional problem. Because can you imagine you have a financial problem, like you lost your job or you lost business or you actually are in debt or whatever. That's a real problem. You already have a real problem. You need all the strength to solve this problem. Then you go and create a self-inflicted emotional problem of worry and fear and this depression. The weaker you are mentally, the more unable you to solve the financial problem. So if you have one problem,
You stack up your own problem and you lose your sense of resilience. Yeah.
Yes. So if you have one problem, stay at one problem. Don't add a second problem because nobody gave you the second problem. The emotional problem is completely created by yourself. So stay with one problem. Don't have two problems. This is logical advice. But when you think about human emotion, the element of fear, it's always there. So it takes a little bit of reconciliation, talking to yourself. If any of you listening to this video, it's counterintuitive. You are going to still be worried, but just understand that you need all the strength you have to look at your problem and solve the financial one and solve the real problem, and all the other problems that are emotional, try not to make it so big that you actually collapse. Your mental health is needed to solve your financial health.
I think this is very, very good advice. First of all, don't create additional problem. Secondly, confront the problem and see what you can do about the problem. But tell me, after you've gone through all those issues, how did you manage to dig yourself out of the hole? I mean, 16 companies with all the challenges facing you, how do you get out of it eventually?
So when I have that calmness, and I went back to the office and I sold all the inventory at losses, sometimes at half the price, convert to cash.
So you cut loss basically.
You cut loss. And the people who owe me money, I discounted that. If you owe me $1, just pay me 80 cents. I need your cash. And then you can get immediate profit in your bottom line, 20% suddenly, right? So a lot of people take it. So eventually, I just make sure that I could tide through. And
it's very smart of you, because I also went through the Asian crisis, and I know many people who hang on and hang on and hang on, almost burying themselves in self-denial when they could have done something. And it's better to do something and solve the problem than to wait and hope, and you know that the sun may not rise until a while later.
Yeah, and then I gather my staff to say, whoever can find a better job, please go, your family needs you. And whoever want to hang in there, this is going to be a rough ride. You want to hang in, you stay. And by saying things, it take care of them, but they also take care of me, because I then can operate at a smaller overheads. And when people leave, they get a better job or a better security, because this is risky, right? So I operate with a smaller number of people, and we slog it out. And during this period, team spirit is very important. If you are a boss and you're scolding everybody because you lost your temper, you lost your cool, you're very upset, then I think the the deterioration of your business will be faster than
Right.
if you are calm. So keep calm and carry on. I think this is a very important posters. You have to think, always stay cool and say, what should I do, and then go and do it in the right way.
That's very good. So first thing you did was to make sure, you solve the immediate problem, because you can't change the problem, you can change your response to a problem. And then secondly, you make sure that you go back to your company and see how you can remodel your company. And then thirdly, to encourage and improve the morale of the company. Because at the end of the day, I think it is the people in your company that makes the company works, basically. So tell me, after you've gone through all these experiences, what are some of the key lessons that you've learned out of all this crisis?
One of the things which is very strange was, again, counterintuitive, is that because the office is a very stressful environment, if I were to stay a full day during that crisis, I might go crazy, right? So every morning I go to the office. In the morning, you have a lot of strength. And then after lunch, I do the World Toilet Organization.
Oh, you started a World Toilet even when you were running your business then?
I started a Restroom Association in 1998 when the recession started.
Okay.
And at the deepest part of the recession, I also started a second one called the World Toilet Organization.
Okay.
And my staff was telling me, like, you must be crazy, There's so much problem here, there's so much thing to do, and you are only coming for half a day, and in the afternoon you're on the second story, not talking to us, just running an NGO. So my answer to them was that the only way you can get sanity during this crazy period and self-worth is to go help people. Because when you help people, that's where you get your self-worth. When you are able to give love, that means you still have love inside you. If you can't give love, you only have fear inside you. And fear is going to consume you and overwhelm you. You're not going to be able to cope. So being selfish is actually very detrimental to your own health, mental health. And so as I start to do the
you realize that what you just said is no more, it's really counterintuitive, right? I mean, most people will take care of themselves. It's all about I, me, and myself during the crisis. But it's amazing, even in the crisis, you went out there and reach out and bless other people's lives. And I always say this, the more you reach out to bless other people's lives, the richer and better your life will become. And then you also build up your emotional reservoir of strength too.
But it's also your own survival. If you don't help people, you're going to be very weak. If you start helping people, you're going to be very strong. And so during the crisis, I realized that when I do the toilet and then the people say, wow, somebody should have done that long ago, this is good and all that, then you feel a sense of self-worth. But when I go to the office and I'm losing money and I'm cutting losses and I'm shrinking the number of employees, those are not a positive feeling, right? And good friends resigning and customer not paying, and every day you get bad news. Whereas you go to the social sector in the afternoon and everything is good news, because I choose the worst subject called shit, and you can't do worse than that because it's already shit, right? And then there's 2.6 billion people.
I suppose when you see the situations, the shitty situation, you realize suddenly you are in really much better situation than many people out there. Right?
You see, the moment you can comparatively feel that you think you are in a bad shape, but look at other people. Now you are pretty good. Don't worry. So during this period, as I'm doing this social work, I also start to feel this therapeutic effect that doing the social work actually bring me a lot of happiness. So I thought, hey, without the recession, I wouldn't know that doing social work is so fun. So I told my wife, if I survive this recession, I'm going to sell all the businesses and I'm going to retire, and whatever money left on the table, I think it should be enough to pay for the children education and have no more mortgage, right? So during the crisis, I have 15 properties. I borrow 50%, but the price dropped 50%. So on paper it's zero. So
you got double whammy now. First, your business is challenged, and now your investment is also a big stretch.
Yes. And then on top of that, my French partner, Saint-Gobain, the world's biggest glass company, own half of my company, say we want to sell the share and we're not interested in this business anymore. We don't know when is it going to make a profit anymore. So they say, if you don't buy the share, then we'll close down the company. They own 50% of the company. And so I say, okay, I'll buy. Because the other partner, 35% local partners don't want to buy, right? So I own 10% at the time. My brother owned 5%. So I told the French, okay, we'll buy the company a 50% share. On hearing that, my local partner who owned 35% said, I also want to sell. I'm shocked. We were together for so many years. Now there's a crisis. You also want to sell. He says, yeah, whatever the French term, we follow the term. Say, I don't have money to buy from you. I've already done a second mortgage of my bungalow and sell off some property to tell the bank not to chase me. And so I said, you give me an 18-month installment. So they said, okay. Because they know I got no more money. Then I went to the bank and tell the bank, don't make me pay installment. I'll just pay you interest.
So you had an interest-only loan.
Interest only. The capital, please hold it.
It's very rare, but for you to be able to get that, really, this is quite an achievement.
And the bank during this period, they only want to know one thing. If you are a fighter, we hang in there with you because we got too many properties. We don't want to be a property owner. We are a bank, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to hang in there, we'll hang in there with you. We don't want you to collapse because too many other people are collapsing. So I say I won't run away. I'm here, but I pay you interest.
So you restructure your financial situation as well. Yeah, that's a good move.
And after that, I go and clear all my stocks. I go and clear all my old debts. And then I start to pay off my partners. And turnaround management is a very, very stressful time. And I've never done a turnaround before. So my youthful black hair start to turn white. And
it's not because you dye your black hair white, huh?
I look in the mirror and I say,
I thought you go against the grain of everything. So most people dye black, you dye white, Just kidding.
Actually, now I understand those people who will become like prime minister or president. After one term, their hair turn white, right?
That's right.
Because there's so much deep thinking, crisis management they have to do. So I start to see like, oh gosh, I'm a young boyish guy, and then now I'm an old man, right? So I told my wife, if I get
Don't believe him. If I know Jack Sim, he's got eternal youth. He's got energy level better than a 21-year-old boy. Believe you me. Yeah.
So I told my wife, first of all, why do we want to earn money? We want to earn money to get the family running. But we don't need more money. And even if I have half of the money, it's enough. So I start to, as the recession start to go away and the economy start to turn up,
Recover, yeah.
I start to sell off 1 property, 2 property, and slowly pay off until I have 0 mortgage.
Wow.
So I think that when you have 0 mortgage, that's where you have real money, because all the rental become 100%
Correct.
your money. But if you don't have, then you actually still owe the bank, right? So during those days when I have a 15 property, my Filipino maid has more money than me. She has $3,000 in the bank, but I have minus, you know. So I say, you're richer than me. He said, no, how can that be? So that's true, no?
Life is all about perspective, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So after everything is over, I told my general manager, you go and run it, and I'm no more going to make any decision. I don't even need to know what's happening with the company. You just play with our table money. And that's because that last company, which now it's called Vesco, it's owned the new building that we have built. And nobody wants to buy that company. They only want to buy the building.
Okay.
So it is a trading company, nobody wants to buy. So we sold the share in the Australian International School, make quite good money. Sold the share in the bricks factory, sold the share in the roof tile factory in Malaysia, and all the real estate development project we also end. And so I become very peaceful when I start to have no relationship with making more money. Okay, whatever I can make on rental, I continue, but I don't crave for money anymore. And that period was really transformative, because it used to be like when my friend buy a new Mercedes or a BM, I was always thinking, oh, my car is so old, he's got a new one. Then they start thinking of buying a new car. After that, when people buy new cars or get more money, I realized that I don't feel anything. There is no more comparison, because I live in a free world. You live in a rat race.
This is really true enlightenment. I think sometimes we overcomplicate our life. In fact, research in the area of positive psychology said that if you want to be happy, live simply.
Yeah.
I think sometimes life forces us to understand this truth. The simpler your life is, the easier for you to focus on the right thing and be able to know that happiness is actually within you. Happiness is out there, you can find it. Yeah.
I also realized that at 40, I have only 14,600 days to live till my 80th birthday.
You must listen to this. This is one of Jack Sim's famous principle of life. He actually have counted the number of days until what he think would be his last day in his life. Is that true?
Yeah.
Would you like to tell the audience how you...
So basically...
Your principle? Yeah.
If you make a study, how long does a Singaporean live? It's about 84 for women and almost 82 for men. And the last few years, you're very sick, or you walk slowly. You will have some form of the following: dementia, Parkinson's disease, diabetes, stroke, heart attack,
physical disability,
arthritis.
Yeah.
Everything is coming. They're all waiting for you. All these diseases, they are just at the finishing line. Say, come to me. And so, even if you live beyond 80, the quality of life is not very, very high. In fact, I'll measure the quality of life as the ability to contribute to society. I would probably start to become a burden. Maybe I need people to take care of me. So I don't count after 80, whatever years I'm still alive, as useful years. Of course, it could be like Mahathir is 170 years old and still very strong. I don't know, but I'm probably taking the average.
I have a strange feeling you can match that man. Yeah. If I know the energy level you have, the vision that you have, and what you want to do in your life, it'll take you another 3,000 years to fulfill it. So
but
you
let's
still
be
live a long life.
realistic. If our contribution to society is to grab from them more money, is that a legacy that's interesting? Because at the end of our life, on the last day, what do you want to say to yourself? I think most likely you will not say to yourself, let me look at my bank account one more time. I want to see how much balance. Or let me look at all my shoes or Louis Vuitton handbag or collector watches. What you want to say at the last day of your life is very personal, but for me, it will be about relationship. My relationship with my family, my relationship with my friends, with my society, with my country, and my relationship with the world. And after that, I close my eyes with a smile and I go. And then, because I'm dead, it's not important whether they remember me or not. It's really not important. The most important thing is the thing you can do while you're still alive. If today somebody remembers Lee Kuan Yew, does he know? No, of course he don't know. He's gone. And so, the legacy of Lee Kuan Yew continues, not for him, because he's gone, but for the people who can use this and to continue his pioneering spirit, continue his sense of commitment to the vocation.
And he left a marvelous legacy, because if you walk anywhere and everywhere in Singapore, that is his legacy basically. And what you say is true, but I mean, I spend a lot of time helping people, through challenging health problems. And I've seen many people passed away. But I always say this, when you see somebody lying on a dying bed, nobody's going to complain. They don't have a bigger house, bigger car, bigger bank account, or bigger wife. They all complain that they could have life.
You usually get a bigger wife because they go fat.
and they all look back in their life and wish they have lived their life differently. So I'm really very, very thankful for your sharing. Let me ask you this question. Out there are a lot of people who are challenging, who are going through challenging times, who are struggling, and you have gone through so many challenges. I can't even finish asking you for the challenges, because if I'm going to ask you how you started World Toilet Organization, made this in a global movement, it's another set of struggles. But, if I were to ask you, how would you advise people who are struggling out there? What advice would you share with them to help them back through these difficult times?
In this difficult time, take some time off to go and help other people. People around you are suffering. Extend your care to those who are even worse than you. And when you start to do that, you start to feel so nice about yourself. It's counterintuitive. You might think, I'm already so in the shit. What else can I help people? You'll be surprised. My sister was suffering depression. I tried to counsel her. Not successful, because everything I told her was logical. Doesn't work. After a year and a half, one day, she's fine again, and she's like cheerful and all that. So I say, what did you do? He said, I went to volunteer at the mine school. I go and help the mentally challenged children. I found them very lovely, and I found myself very lovely too. And then I'm okay. So it's like, that's the solution. That's the solution. Go out there and help people. Because if you don't have love, you can't give love. But when you start giving love, you have love. And if you have love, you don't have fear. And it's the fear that is making all this mess in your head and making you so sad. If you remove fear and replace it by love, by helping people, that's the solution.
Thank you so much. Those of you who are watching this video, I would strongly suggest that you replay the video and watch the video all over again. Not many people have gone through the kind of problems that Mr. Jackson has gone through. In the process of sharing in his own very casual way, he has shared with us many wonderful principles, how he deals with his internal world, how he deals with his emotion, for example, how he look at life with a totally different perspective, how he managed to restructure his finance, reorganize his company, reinvigorate his staff, how he's been able to proactively respond to these challenges, to dig himself out of the hole. And to me, the best thing that he shared with us is this: if you think you have a problem, I hate to say it, I don't know whether I should say it, but there are people out there who are going through even tougher times. It's like what they say, right? You can complain about your legs. You can complain about your shoes until you see somebody without legs. So I think Mr. Jackson has shared some really, really wonderful insights about life that all of us should remember for the rest of our life. So, Mr. Sim, do you have any last words, anything in your mind that you want to share with people out there?
I think that everybody should imagine today is the last day of your life. You survived COVID, you didn't die, right? You are already living in bonus time. Just imagine if today is the last day of your life. What would you want to say to yourself? If you want to say those words, then go and do the things such that when you want to say those words, you will be able to say it on the last day. Wow. You might want to say that I have a lovely family, or I have reconciled with people that I've quarreled before, or I have actually done something that made the life of other people better. Whatever you want to say. It's all about having to tell yourself that you didn't waste this life. A lot of people waste their life doing things that hurt other people. Our society is designed to grab, to snatch, to deprive. And this societal design of winners create a lot of losers. The bigger the winner, the more number of losers you create. It's not a good design. Let's go against this. Let's think about ourselves as good enough, and let's start thinking about other people.
Thank you so much for your wonderful insight. Thank you for joining us for this video interview. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I did in conducting this video interview, and I hope you'll find time to reflect on some of these beautiful words of wisdom that Mr. Jackson has shared with us. And again, through doing this video, he's also living out his mission or vision in his life, to relate better with the people out there, to make the world a better place to live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Just remember, we are not important. We are just a servant to humanity.
Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sim.